Hi and welcome to the summer episode or something of Dynamics Update. Today we are going to discuss the update called 10.0.20. And with me, not as usual, but as unusual, because Gustav had to work a lot before his vacation, I have Tobias. Hello.
Hello, Johan. Nice to be back on the podcast.
Okay, so you haven't gone on vacation yet?
No, still working. One more week, then I'm off to vacation.
I've actually had my first one, and whoever say that you are going to be sitting down and doing nothing, reading a book during your vacation is absolutely wrong.
We'll see. I'll always have that kind of dream or objective, but it seems to never happen. So we'll see this year.
In that case, you should live in a rental apartment in the city, not in a house in the suburbs.
Yeah, true. Maybe I should not have too big hopes on that then, but we'll see.
Yeah. So 10.0.20. What we noticed as we had sort of a check today was that there are not a lot of things in this update. Apparently, Redmond also has a vacation, but I think we will be able to manage to squeeze out a couple of things for this update. Especially, there are things that have been in private preview before that are now coming into not general availability, but public preview at least, so everyone can try to look at them. All right, so I'll start with a small one, I think. This is just a reminder. As you know, Internet Explorer is going away, and for that, also the support of Internet Explorer in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. So, what will happen from July 2021 is that you will get a notice if you try to use Internet Explorer telling you that this is absolutely not the supported browser, and you should absolutely stop using it as soon as possible. And of course, Microsoft is recommending the new Microsoft Edge browser, not even the old one, not even the one that was delivered with Windows 10 when it came out. So the new one, the one with the swirly green and blue E, which is very much like using Chrome. Chrome is also a supported browser, of course, but if you ask Microsoft, they will tell you that Microsoft Edge is the one that you should be using. So, Tobias, do you have any customers still using Internet Explorer?
Not that I can think of, to be honest. I think most of them has transitioned over to the Chromium-based Edge browser. So, I think that's not much to say about that one. I don't think this will be a huge thing for most of our clients, to be honest, and I think that's a good thing as well. So
yeah, so what will happening now is that from April 2022 it will actually be decommissioned. It will be mandatory not to use Internet Explorer anymore. So that's it. So do you have anything on the list?
Yes, I like to bring forward one fairly big area related to finance, and I think you already mentioned it. It's actually a group of features named Finance Insights that is just about to leave private preview and moving into the public preview space. And for those of you that have not heard about Finance Insights, it's actually an add-on or a Dynamics 365 add-on apps for Dynamics 365 Finance. And what it means is that it's actually providing a number of AI capabilities on top of Dynamics 365 Finance, which I believe is really interesting. We see a lot of innovation and investment from Microsoft towards the AI area on top of Dynamics 365. I think around the last 1 to 2 years, we have seen a number of apps being released on the Dynamics 365 sales and customer service side, but this is actually the first AI app that is targeted the the ERP workloads, and I think that's really interesting. So it's actually and the app consists of a customer payment prediction model and a cash flow model, and also a financial budget forecast model. So that's actually like 3 AI capabilities built into this Finance Insights app. So as we mentioned, it's going public preview in July 2021, and we still don't know when it's going to be GA, according to the documentation right now. But Johan, I know you have also taken a look at this app, and what's your thoughts about it?
Yes, so this is one of, as you said, this is one of the example of things that Microsoft is actually moving out of the D365 FO product. So what will actually happen on a more technical basis is that you will use DMF to feed data out to a data lake, to an Azure data lake. And from there, you will have a AI model that picks it up, analyzes it, and feeds it back into Dynamics. This is something that you normally, when you set it up, you will not have to do anything about it, but you can actually, if I understand it correctly, tweak the model if you want. So it's actually an AI builder model, as I understand it, and you can actually adjust it, and it will learn from your data as you leave it there. So it will hopefully get better over time as well.
And I think it's a fascinating patterns that we see more and more as well, in terms of that the finance and supply chain management apps are leveraging Azure services, and typically in combination with the Dataverse cloud storage solution, and also the new analytics pattern, which is Azure Data Lake Generation 2. So we see a number of new apps really leveraging those kind of components to enhance the capabilities within Dynamics 365 Finance and supply chain management as well. And I think this Finance Insights is a perfect example on that. And I think we're going to see more of those capabilities leveraging those patterns going forward as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing, because I mean, Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations is a fairly complex product anyway. I don't think we really need more built-in complexity, because I mean, from my perspective as working as a technical specialist, I always sort of am a bit scared when we do the upgrades, because all of this complexity generates dependencies, and dependencies can cause errors. So having the built-in solution or application being a bit more simplified, I think, is, at least in the long run. I mean, there is of course a risk when doing the change, but in the long run going forward, it's better to have things as separate microservices outside of Dynamics, I would say.
I think it will create more robust and scalable solutions going forward. And I also think, it will be more kind of it's not really fully transitioning from monolithic to microservices architecture, but it's still kind of on that path, which makes it better or easier for Microsoft to innovate to a larger extent, I believe. So it's an interesting thought, actually, and perhaps, or I would say, better for the customer, but perhaps for you, Johan, as your role as a technical architect would probably require some thoughts around how to ensure the robustness and stability of each environment, and also how to govern it in a best possible way. But that's another challenge.
Yeah. So from my end, I basically just have one more thing. And this is actually something that you added here as well, Tobias, and that's performance enhancements. So in my last at my last customer, I was struggling a bit with some performance issues, and one of those were actually one that we are actually crossing our fingers for right now. So there is a fix coming in general availability in July 2021, which is a performance enhancement for sales order details. So when you go click on a sales order and you load the form showing the specific sales order and the details for that sales order, that performance will be enhanced as well. So I know that there has been some discussions around performance in separate forms and so on, and I'm actually really hoping that this is a step forward to handling some of these items.
Yeah, so I totally agree with that one, and I was actually very glad when I saw that this feature was about to be included in the 10.0.20 release. I think it sends an important message that Microsoft actually takes performance seriously, and it's not only about putting out as many new features as possible. It's also very important to ensure robustness and performance in the platform, because I mean you can have as many new and nice feature, but if you have a really bad performance, it's kind of like a wet blanket on top of the entire implementation, and it will create negative impact among the super users, and in the end the entire project. So I think this is a super important area, and it sends I would say positive signals that Microsoft really takes this seriously. And just selecting the sales order form, I think that's, it's not a coincidence, because it's one of the most commonly used forms based on my experience throughout the system. And essentially what this does is that it makes the user interface more responsive when opening the sales order form, and especially when you have orders that include many lines. And I think this is a very common scenario where you have a lot of customer and also a lot of users within each instance working with this one. So also agreeing this is super good, and looking forward to testing it out.
Yeah, and I would say that one of the things that I think is important here is that Microsoft is actually documenting performance enhancements, because it's not like Microsoft is not working with performance, but historically they haven't been very good at documenting them and actually making them public. They have fixed them in the background, and from Microsoft perspective, they want to fix as many performance issues as possible, because from their perspective, performance issues generate support tickets, and support tickets costs money. So eventually they will work with every single performance issue. There is an issue with determining where the responsibility lies for a specific performance issue. But there I also think that it's important that customers actually work focused on performance issues and actually try to send them to Microsoft as soon as possible, as soon as they have discovered that this performance issue is not due to our code. This performance issue is in the underlying product, because that will make Microsoft aware of them, and it will also make the LCS people aware of the performance issues, meaning that they can actually change the architecture in a way that we will avoid this kind of issue. I know that there has been a lot of discussions about the placement of the Azure SQL database contra the service fabric that runs the actual application. And I know that there has been work done on fiddling with how these should be performed. And this is nothing that we as customers can do. But if we file a support case with Microsoft and they figure out that we have, for instance, bad latency between our application and our database, they can actually do something about it. And I think that's all in all a good thing, because they will understand how these environments are affected when you do certain operations, and why it's important that they are placed in a certain way in their Azure data centers.
Yeah, totally agree. I think a general recommendation here would be to, work together with your partner when you identify a performance issue, just to triage where it's actually coming from. So is it related to integration patterns? Is it related to custom code? But if you believe if you're certain that it's related to standard application, then I would really encourage to submit support tickets, because that's actually an excellent way for letting Microsoft know that there are issues, and they're constantly obviously monitoring this and prioritizing new investments on features and enhancements based on these tickets. So if they don't get the tickets, it's kind of hard to know that it's an issue. So that's just a suggestion, basically.
Yes. All right. So from my end, I don't actually have anything else at the moment.
Yeah, I have another one actually related to continuing around the supply chain management area, and that's actually a fairly new feature that was introduced as part of the engineering change order management capability that was released earlier this spring, and it's called product readiness check. And essentially, it's a feature, or it's an enhancement to an existing feature where you have a lot of configuration capabilities to set up different, as it says, product readiness check. So different check to ensure that you have enriched the product with all necessary information before you actually make it available for purchase, inventory transaction, or sales. So we had a simple feature around this in previous versions, moving back as long as I remember. But this enhancements actually makes it a lot more granular in terms of what are the different configurations, and also like customer specific configuration in terms of what fields should be perhaps mandatory or optional to fill in when you create products. So it's an exciting new feature, I would say, that typically has been standard in best of breed PIM, like product information management system, but in general ERP system hasn't been that good to manage this feature. So it's now available, and it's not only available for engineering products, it's all actually available for all kinds of products now. So when you create new products in the system, you have the possibility to utilize this product readiness check button, which actually generates a new experience when you can verify that you have filled in all information. So good new feature. So I really encourage everyone working with products to check it out, basically.
Yes.
Good. Then I think we've touched upon finance and supply chain, and I would like to say a few words about commerce as well. Commerce app, it's always an area where we see a lot of new innovations constantly being introduced. And I noticed that there has been a few enhancements around the inventory on hand area, and especially around e-commerce and the available APIs. And I think this is some kind of a silver bullet area when it comes to e-commerce sites, that how could we ensure like real up-to-date inventory on hand throughout our different sales channels when we're dependent on typically back-end components that might need various kind of integrations to surface the inventory on hand information. And here seems to have been a few interesting updates. So we have something called enhanced e-commerce product discovery to be inventory aware, and it's basically what it means is that it enables product inventory check to only allow products to be purchased if inventory is available. So it's kind of should be the default way, right? So you shouldn't be able to purchase goods through the web if you don't have inventory. So there are enhancements to that area in the new release, and then we've also seen enhancements to the existing APIs, which is called, I think, Get Estimated Availability and Get Estimated Product Warehouse Availability API. So I think it's an important area, and there seems to have been robustness improvements around those, and that's could be interesting to check out if you have that kind of scenarios in your system.
All right, so I think we're done for today. It was a bit shorter than usual, so I hope everyone has a great vacation. We will be coming out with another episode during the summer, so keep an eye on your podcasting client. If you have any questions or feedback that you would like to give us, you can always contact us at dynamicsupdate@engagegroup.se if you have any questions. So with that, have a really, really nice summer, and don't leave the patio. Take it easy and don't work too much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.